It's not enough for us simply to install an SSL certificate. Certificates must also be managed over time. In this movie, we're going to talk about expiration dates. All SSL certificates have an expiration date, so they all expire at some point. Now, this is not just a plot by the certificate authorities to get more money out of you. It's actually a security feature. SSL certificates convey trust, and expiration dates allow us to renew that trust. After all, the website may have changed hands over time, so the ownership needs to be revalidated periodically. It also gives us an opportunity to update the public and private key. Now, we could renew our certificate and use the same public key again, but this gives us the chance, at least, to provide a new public key. Hopefully that private key was kept secure and safe and was never compromised. But if it happened to have been compromised without us knowing, this gives us a chance to make sure we start fresh with a new public-private key pair. It also gives us the opportunity to update security standards. If the best practice changes and we want to use a different type of encryption algorithm, for example, we don't want to have to wait 5 years to get everyone on board with that new best practice. This allows us to provide security updates throughout the internet much quicker. Now, an expired certificate is basically the same as a certificate that's just not valid. It's not any good and browsers won't respect it. They'll display security warnings instead that can spook your users. And users aren't necessarily going to check and see, oh, well, the only thing wrong with the certificate is just that it expired yesterday, right? So this is something we need to keep on top of. So you're going to need to keep track of when those certificates expire. And then you're going to update them at least 1 month before the expiration. You don't want it to creep up on you and catch you by surprise. Make sure that you have plenty of time to deal with it. It's a good idea to mark your calendar with the date the certificate expires, as well as a date that's at least 1 month before the expiration, so that you can make sure that you renew it. Don't rely on the certificate authority to tell you when your certificate needs renewing. It's not their job. It's up to you. It's very easy to figure out when a certificate expires. You just go to the website. If you click on the lock or the secure icon that's right there to tell you where it's secure, you should have some option to allow you to review the certificate. In Chrome, I can do it this way. And you'll see right here, it says who it's issued by, and it says when it expires. So I need to mark my calendar for September 18th, and I also need to mark it for August 18th to make sure that I handle this 1 month ahead of time. Now, if you're using a purchase certificate, then you'll need to go through the whole process again. You'll need to generate a new certificate signing request, and you'll need to go back to the website. You'll need to pick the certificate you want, reapply, give them the CSR. That whole process has to start over again, and you'll have to reinstall it on your system as well. The content of the certificate will be different, so you'll have to reinstall it. Now, if you're using Let's Encrypt, then you can also take advantage of CertBot and use it to manage the updates as well. CertBot can help you to renew those. In the next movie, I'm going to explain how that works. In this movie, we're going to learn how to renew Let's Encrypt certificates. Let's Encrypt certificates are only valid for 90 days. And since we want to renew our certificates at least a month before they expire, that means that about every 60 days, these have to be renewed. That means that we'll be renewing our certificates 6 times a year. That's a lot of work and a lot of things that we have to remember. So we want to make sure that we have a good, easy way to do it and that we automate that process as much as possible. Fortunately for us, CertBot includes a feature to allow us to renew those certificates, and that makes it much easier. When we run the CertBot program and ask it to renew, it will first check and see whether the certificate expires in less than 30 days. If it's more than 30 days away, then it does nothing. If the certificate is less than 30 days, though, then it goes ahead and renews for us. And it does that using the same options that we used originally when we asked to get the certificate. It's intended to be run as a daily automated task. So every day, your web server will just check and say, hey, have I reached that 60-day limit yet? Am I 30 days away from expiration? If I am, let's go ahead and renew. On a Unix system, you would do that using a cron job. On Windows, you could do that using Task Scheduler. Let me demonstrate how it would work on Unix, since that's probably what most web developers are going to use. You would type in the command sudo certbot renew, and if you add the option --dry--run, then it will just show you whether it would do it or not. It doesn't actually perform the renewal, it just acts like it would. So it gives you a chance to see what it would do without actually doing anything. When you're actually ready to do it, well, then you just take away the dry run option. Sudo certbot renew, and it will renew your certificate. You can also add the -Q option if you don't want to get output. And that's going to be important if you decide to set this up as a cron job. You don't want the output from it. You just want it to do it quietly in the background. So if you haven't used cron before, it's kind of its own thing, and you would have to learn how cron works if you don't know already. To set up a cron job, you provide a line telling it when the command should run and what command should execute. So a line in a cron job file might look something like this. You see I have certbot-q renew as the command that I want to run. And then there's these weird symbols that are before it. That's actually the cron time format. The first item is the minute, the second one is the hour, then it's the day, the month, and the day of the week. And it's how I tell it when I want my cron job to run. The asterisk means anytime. So if we read it backwards, starting from certbot-q renew and read backwards, the first asterisk means run this task on every day of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't care what day of the week it is, run it on all of them. The one before that says run it on any month. The one before that says run it on any day. The one before that is for hour, and it says run it for any hour, but the /12 means every 12 hours. So 2 times a day, every 12 hours, it's going to run this task. It doesn't matter what hour it is, it's just going to make sure it happens every 12 hours. And then the last one is the minute. It says to run it at the 0 minute of the hour. So every 12 hours, this cron job would run. Now, before you go off and start creating the cron job, note that certbot may have already created this cron job for you. You'll want to go and look and see whether you have a cron job already included in etc/cron.d, and then it's probably going to be called certbot. If you see that in there, it means that it probably has already created it. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to SSH into my SSL tester server again, and let's just check and see. Let's go cd and then /etc cron.d. These are daily cron job files. ls-la will show me what's in there, and you'll see that there is one already called certbot. If we take a look at what's in there, cat certbot, you'll see exactly that. See this line right here? It tells it every 12 hours, and then it tells this long command here, right? They've written a much longer version. Here's the key part here, certbot-q renew, but they've written a lot fancier stuff. It's a little bit more robust. They've told it what shell to use and what path to use. This is a little bit more advanced cron tab usage, but you can see that it already put it there. So certbot added it for me. I don't actually need to do anything. Now, if you were doing it yourself, you could add your own file to cron.d. You could copy exactly what they've got there, or you could use my smaller version, or another common way to do that is just to use cron tab-e, but cron tab would run the cron jobs as the user that you are right now. So putting it in that .d directory makes sure that it always runs as sudo, whereas doing it using cron tab-e might not have access to the sudo scope that it needs. Once you've got your cron job in place or a scheduled task in Windows, then certbot will take care of the renewal for you on a regular basis, and you won't have to worry about certificate expiration.